Downtown Portland has a ton of surprises. Each neighborhood, block, street has a different feel and vibe to it, and it changes quickly.
In today's video, we're going to take you for a real driving tour of what it's actually like to live in the downtown city core. We're Ann and Erica. We're Portland real estate relocation experts with over 95-star reviews, and we're here to show you what Portland's all about.
So let's go see what downtown has to offer.
The first area of downtown that we're going to show you guys is the South Waterfront area. Now, the South Waterfront is right along the river. So we talked about in our other videos that Portland is divided up amongst two different east and west sides. So this is on the west side of downtown. It kind of is the West Bank, if you will. The Willamette River runs right alongside it. So it's kind of in its own little pocket area of downtown. I often tell people like downtown South Waterfront isn't like in downtown core, but it's kind of its own little offshoot, right, Erica?
Yes, it certainly is.
It doesn't have that same connection either. So like when you walk around down here in South Waterfront, you're not really in the downtown area. You can't get to it.
No, you're a good, bit south of the city. And I guess if you go along the walking trails, there's a running path that I used to do all the time that would take you through this area and back to all of the, true like heart of downtown. But this is well separated from that.
Yeah, and there is a max line that kind of runs down through here. There is a lot of walkability. So one of the things a lot of you guys ask us about is where can I live that's walkable? And I highly recommend this area because I really do feel a sense of like at ease down here. I don't feel like I'm in
quieter.
It's quieter. You really don't see a lot of homeless. In fact, I've been down here quite a bit over the last year and I have yet to see any homeless. It has a sense of community to it. So there's a lot of restaurants, coffee shops, a ton of dog owners. So it's probably one of the most dense areas in the urban city area where you're going to see the most amount of dog owners. And they have tons of things like doggy daycares, dog washes. It just goes on and on. They have like dog parks down here on the rooftops of some of the buildings, as well as there's a big area designated for a dog park. And you can walk along the riverfront. So one of the big advantages of being in the South Waterfront is, you can go miles down the waterfront from, kind of the South Waterfront area. You can go north and south of this particular area. It's all fairly flat. So if you're into walkability, this is actually like a primo area. The other thing I really like is there's a lot of condensed restaurants and eating areas and new kind of eating companies. There's new restaurants coming in here. There's also on the corner that we're approaching up here called the Lone Wolf Watering Hole. Right now, you don't see anybody there because it's not open yet, but it is jam-packed full of people in the afternoons and evenings. It just opened recently. They bring in food carts, so it's not actually a restaurant per se, but more of like you can order
It's just
drinks.
a bar. It's a straight-up bar, no food. You're only going there for beverages.
Yeah,
and they've got lots of options. Very popular. They'll bring food trucks in, so if that's your jam, you can get food that way. Truly kind of a new way that Portland's doing things. I think it's almost like, you can get your beverage, you can go choose what kind of food you want.
Now, one thing about the South Waterfront is it's urban, right? So we have a ton of condos and apartments. There are some townhome options. There's no single family homes down here. It's really a true urban area. It's a live work. So usually a lot of these condo complexes, they're anywhere from 5 to 30 stories high. They do have all the, commercial elements down below on the bottom layer. And there's also a lot of kind of natural scape that's in between the condominium complexes. So there's the John Ross, the Merriweather, there's several condo complexes down here, and in between them are these alleyways where you can kind of walk your dog, and there's just a lot of natural water and things like that. Now, one thing I want to point out is we're coming up on Zidell Yards, and this is a big thing to point out. Zidell Yards is under a letter of intent right now to build a massive pro baseball league facility. We've talked about it on other videos. It's kind of been on the news a lot over the last 6 months here in Portland. And effectively, it's where they have a letter of intent to build a pro baseball stadium in here. Now, some people are really for it because they want to revive the Portland downtown area. It would bring a lot of commerce a lot of businesses. It would bring a lot of people and kind of maybe an energy back to some of the downtown areas. But a lot of people are concerned about the level of traffic and where people would park. Now, their plan is to make parking on the other side, right, Erica?
Yeah, they want to have you park on the other side, and then you will walk across. And, you know, I mean, it's got pros and cons to it. So people are, like Ann said, some people are very for it. Some people are very against it. I think that it's going to be a work in progress for a while. But I do believe that we have passed a bill to further investigate this along with the letter of intent.
Now, another thing I want to point out about down here in the South Waterfront and why it has its own kind of, I guess, vibe, if you will, is it has the OHSU tram. So the Oregon Health Science University, which is up on the hill in Southwest Portland, but there is an actual campus down here in the South Waterfront and a tram that you can actually take whether you're working or visiting the OHSU campus up in South Waterfront, up above in Southwest Portland. Or if you even just as a tourist kind of thing, why take the tram?
It's quite the attraction, really.
Yeah. And it kind of goes from down here in the South Waterfront and it takes you all the way up the hill. It's got some really great views once you get to the top of it. But a lot of medical students, medical practitioners come here. In fact, a little story was about a year ago, I met a couple who rented an apartment down here for 6 months because the wife was getting medical treatments. And if you don't know anything about OHSU, it's a world-class research medical hospital. And a lot of people come here from all over the country to get medical attention that they can't otherwise get in areas where they're coming from. So it is one of the premier medical institutions of Portland. One thing that's really put us on the map with medicine. And down here in this area, it's got a combination of places that you can rent and live. So you'll find a variation of people who own as well as, you know, are here renting. They also have luxury condos. You know, they've got penthouses down here as well as little studio flats. So we kind of run a gamut down here.
And what's the cost range for properties here?
Yeah, so you can actually find things in the 300,000 range. I've seen them even lower than that, but we're talking about a studio type setup, all the way up to over $1 million for a penthouse top floor unit and everything in between. I would say the average you're looking at for most condos, 2-bedroom to 3-bedroom, you're probably looking in like the 800,000 to 900,000 range. There's quite a bit of inventory right now on the market that if you're interested in moving to this area or seeing what it has available, don't be shy, hit us up. We'd be happy to share with you what that inventory looks like. There's kind of a price range for everybody, honestly, in this kind of area. And it is a really great part of the downtown area that we recommend for a lot of people if they're considering being in more of an urban setting in the downtown corridor. But just a lot of really neat little restaurants and so forth down here to take advantage of. You got flower shops, again, Dogtopia, lots of dog stores down here. You've got Thai food, you got pizza, you've got Blue Star Donuts, which is kind of a Portland-esque type donut thing, not like Voodoo, but a little more bougie.
Bougie is a good word.
Little Big Burger, Sweetheart Pizza. Oh, and then let's talk about the farmers market. There's a park just down the way here where they start next weekend, actually. So right now it's the end of May. They'll start beginning of June for their farmers market. They're known for the farmers market down here. It's once a week. It has a ton of vendors that come in, and it's really a fun way to kind of like walk outside your condo or apartment and
go grocery shopping.
Get your foods, get your, you know, your arts, all that stuff. You know, that's something that Portland's kind of known for is the farmers markets, and we have them kind of spread out throughout the city, and downtown's no different, especially down here in the South Waterfront. So we also have the Portland Ballet Company up here straight ahead near the waterfront, near the old spaghetti factory. So if you're into theater arts, we have a lot of that here in Portland, which we'll cover a little bit more as we go through our video today. But yeah, it's just a really nice, clean, casual vibe in this particular area. And you're so close to the freeway access as well.
And you've got, you know, just over to the right, you've got the freeway right there.
So yeah, you got the freeway really close.
Oddly, it's not loud here at all, though.
Yeah,
it's very quiet, very peaceful, and you know, it's Portland, so we try to put as many trees and landscaping to make you feel like you are in nature as possible.
If in fact they build the Major League Baseball stadium, I think this area is going to blow up. I mean, it's already fairly busy and people love living down here, but they kind of love how quiet it is right now. Like you got a coffee shop with a bunch of people sitting outside and enjoying the perfect sunny morning. Eric and I just stopped at the Ovation Coffee up here on the right. And it's just a really nice, peaceful vibe. So if you are looking to get more information on the South Waterfront, we are local to this area. We know it. Don't be shy. Hit us up, call us, text us, email us. And this is the South Waterfront. Let's go to the next area. All right, so now we're heading into kind of the core of downtown, and we're kind of taking the back roads from the south waterfront up to kind of the front waterfront area. There's been a lot of development in this waterfront area in general. So we just passed the Knight Institute for Cancer Research, which is also an add-on from OHSU. And we're kind of coming down through this area that has some newer buildings for apartments and condos. And you can kind of see the freeway accesses from here. A lot of people are out and about walking the streets. So we wanted to give you guys a real kind of depiction of what's happening on a typical Saturday morning here. This is really, tons of people are out and about, walking to go to get coffee, for breakfast.
There's a big walking trail that literally goes between all the housing and the river. And people will go out there all the time just to walk and enjoy the morning, enjoy the views. You know, we are in prime weather right here in Oregon right now, and this is what people live here for.
Yeah. In fact, this is the type of morning that, like Erica said, you kind of forget the fact that we had, 7 months of rain and whatnot. Actually, we've had a pretty good weather year in general.
We really have.
It's been a lot warmer than a lot of us expected it would be. But, and then down here over to the right is kind of the River Place area, which has a marina down by it. I actually used to, when I was younger, work at a restaurant down on the water, and it was hopping. People would pull their boats up to it. You'd, serve food on the dock, and they'd be out till late. But anyway, so we're kind of coming up on the waterfront near Marriott. Right down here to the right of us is the Portland waterfront. This is actually where they'll do concert series. Huge concert series. The Rose Festival is in full swing here pretty quickly. Next weekend is the Rose Festival Parade. It's an iconic historical Portland parade that happens yearly, and they have they take over the waterfront. Essentially, if you
it's like a carnival at the waterfront.
That's right. A carnival at the waterfront. They've got vendors,
rides, food. It is straight up a carnival, and they set it right there along the water, right along the walking green space on the river, and it is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and when I was a kid, everybody would go to the Rose Festival and get a seat at the Rose. You kind of get down to Portland early and try to wait for a seat to watch the Rose Festival go by. It's always been something that is a very big Portland type of activity, and it kind of kicks off summer, really. I mean, I feel like
prime example of our rose.
I know, right? I was just gonna say, let's just point out the obvious, which is when we're bumping around, we're hitting some major potholes. Thanks, Portland. I think we need to deal with some of these massive potholes. So, but anyway, so Portland Rose Festival is one of those things where it kind of kicks off summer. And actually, the joke for many years was that the hot, warm weather didn't even start until after Rose Festival, and it was super, super common for it to always rain on the Rose Festival weekend. That was always
absolute truth.
Now it seems like it's getting so hot, but anyway, we're coming up on. We got a park up here on our right, another pothole. We've got a beautiful park over here. And by the way, I just want to point out, have you seen any homeless yet? I haven't seen any homeless as of yet.
No, they're sleeping in.
I think you guys are always curious about that. And so are we, honestly.
Yeah.
We're always trying to decide, how's Portland doing? But I have yet to see a homeless tent or a homeless person as of yet, but we have still more video to shoot for you guys. But right now there's a park down here, beautiful park right off of Main, and so far so good. Southwest Portland has really cleaned up a lot. That was actually one of the first places I noticed after COVID that started to see, graffiti coming down and homeless, encampments and tents get reduced. So I don't know why specifically that is, but Southwest Portland just cleaned up a lot. But that doesn't mean that Portland still doesn't have its struggles, you guys. So right up here on the left is the Standard Insurance Building. My stepsister actually works for Standard, and she even told me during and after COVID that they really worried for their safety, honestly. Coming and going into the building, it's gotten better, but it's just one of those things where Portland's kind of taken a while. A lot of businesses kind of
Melting Pot is a fantastic restaurant.
Yeah, the Melting Pot's like a fondue restaurant.
Oh, it's amazing.
There used to be a McDonald's on this corner. It used to be there for 40 years, I want to say. Now we're coming up on an iconic symbol here. This is the Portland sign. I actually have this in our studio office when we videotape sometimes. The Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall is huge because it's where a lot of theater and music and comedic acts will come into town, and that is where you buy your tickets and go for a night on the town.
Yeah.
Last time I went there was my husband and I bought tickets to see our favorite comedian, Sebastian Maniscalco. And then we had dinner down the street at, I even wonder if it's still there actually. Maybe we'll drive by it. But it's called the Something Rabbit. But it was really good. There's a lot of people out and about this morning, even in the Southwest area. You can see a lot of students because we're really close to the university.
This is really the heart of the city. I mean, this is where you're going to see a lot of businesses. You don't see a ton of housing through here. It is, apartments and some condos, but you're not going to see a lot of single family homes.
Yeah, and you can see TriMet running through the area. That's one of our main transportation.
High transportation options here.
Yep.
And again, Portland loves our trees, and so we definitely try to have trees everywhere. It definitely creates, especially during the summer, this creates just the most beautiful setting to drive through. It really is hard to beat this area.
See, I mean, people are out and about this morning. I mean, this is
the city on a weekend.
Yes.
And, I don't think it started because most of our farmers markets will start here in early June. But in the park blocks, there is a massive farmers market on Saturdays. And people come from even like Central Oregon to hit this farmers market because it is so large and it takes over many blocks out by the university. And it's epic. You can get prepared foods. You can get all your fruits and vegetables from the local haunts. You can get just about anything that you need. There's lots of arts and crafts as well. And I used to come down here on the regular to get all of my shopping for the week when, I was in my early 20s. That was a long time ago.
And we're going to take you guys along the waterfront as a way to kind of show you a little bit of what just driving on the main road here, the NATO Parkway, which is the main road. So the river's to our right as we're kind of filming this. You can see this is the waterfront area. There's the river. There's people walking around. They actually have plans. They're talking about this is called the Tom McCall Waterfront Park. They're talking about making this into a permanent kind of venue where it'll be meant for music and,
because we have a jazz festival every year as well that happens down in this area.
Yeah, we're kind of coming under bridges. You can see this is also called the Town of Bridges or Bridgetown, and we have bridge after bridge after bridge. So when we go under bridges, it's really, really quite common. Actually, the Portland Rose Festival, we're going to drive you guys by it. As we mentioned, it is a fairly long festival. They're just getting started, and next weekend will be a big kickoff for it, starting with the parade. But you can see there's already people down here, and this place downtown next weekend will be packed. You can see there's the fountain.
It's a great watering spot for kids during the summer. They've got like little, you see them playing it in it as a like splash pad.
Yeah, you can see it's all blocked off. You do have to pay to get in. The tickets are usually right at the entrance, but yep, they're just getting started. They're literally putting up all the tents. Those are not homeless tents, by the way. Those are like,
these are planned.
These are planned. These are meant for, the actual Rose Festival. It'll start within the next week. The Rose Festival lasts right around a week. And so this whole place will get packed out within the next week. It gets harder and harder to come downtown when the Rose Festival happens because you have to kind of park a ways away. So it's actually a really good weekend for us to kind of show you guys downtown, because had it been next weekend,
it'd be a little more
challenging.
Yeah.
But at least you're kind of getting a sense for, what's about to come.
And the party continues on the other side of the road as well. You start getting all the kitschy, things that you can get, the cotton candy, the toys.
A lot of times, the other thing too is they have a lot of runs in Portland. So like 5Ks, marathons.
All start here.
All start down here near the waterfront. This is really fun.
NATO Parkway, which is like the main artery along the waterfront. And like Ann said, I mean, this is where you start all your runs, and this is where you generally finish all your runs, and then you have a big party on the waterfront.
Yep.
Which is really the best way to do it. I mean, the Shamrock Run is down here, and they've got beer set up, and you can do everything. It's great.
Yep.
This is also the site of another weekend market that happens, and they actually built this out to
Saturday market.
Yep, Saturday market.
That's what we're now on. Just so you know, the transition went kind of fast, but this is the Saturday market.
Yeah,
where it's well known in Portland. It was actually the first market we had. There's hundreds of vendors, both food and artistic and local services, that come down here and open up, and it's just a fun place to kind of walk around, get some food, get some, trinkets.
Yeah, I tend to find that there's a lot more artists that come down to the Saturday markets. But it is well established and very, very popular. A great option for weekend tourism. Just checking out all that Portland has to offer. All right, so we are in the Pearl District right now, and it's kind of funny to see the evolution of the Pearl District. This was once considered the warehouse area, the warehouse district. This is where a lot of industrialization was, and in the early 2000s they transitioned this area. As a lot of industry was going out of Portland, they decided to turn this residential, and it kind of became this real bougie area spot. It is the it spot of all it spots in Portland, and it's kind of carried this
extra bumpy here.
The more it is in Portland, the bumpier the road.
Right.
So just know that. But this is like the ultimate live, work, play.
Yeah.
And this is where all the trendy restaurants are. This is where the kind of our big push to like industrialized loft living. There are some really spectacular type of apartments, condos, lofts, you name it. It is in this area.
Yep.
And it's really just, I started coming here, in my early 20s, and even then it was bougie. It was like, if you could afford a condo in a Pearl, you were doing really well. And that was like the place to be. Now, I will say I've had a lot of friends who have lived in this area, and it's noisy. I find it noisy. It's very light filled. But there is always something to do. Yeah. And there's fantastic, chocolatiers and art. And really, they try to make this like a very inclusive area in terms of like, there's a Jewish history center, and there's a ton of art places. All of the fancy restaurants are here.
And by the way, back like what Erica was saying, back in the early 2000s, when this place was the happening spot and everybody wanted to get down here, they started a thing called First Thursday.
Yes, exactly.
And actually they've brought it back just recently. But First Thursday is this great where they kind of shut down the streets, no cars can get through, and it's just a barrage of people that walk around and look at art galleries, go to the restaurants, go to the bars, and it kind of became the social scene. Like when I was in my 20s, it was like, hey, are you going to First Thursday? And it's kind of made a comeback because it kind of died out for a while there, and I think even COVID
shut it down for sure, and now it is back with a vengeance. People are back out, and you get everything. They also have a lot of artists that will come out, but it is the social hour on Thursdays, and there is a little bit of our homeless issue.
Yep.
They want to be trendy too, so
this bridge is kind of known for a lot of that. This is kind of the area of the Pearl District where, it's like, kind of
the edge of the Pearl District.
Mm-hmm.
But what kind of became super popular here is on the attached to these lofts and condos, they would put the restaurants and the shopping down on the main level.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of outside eating, and just they close the streets off. It really becomes about lifestyle down here.
Actually a really good time to buy in this area. For one of the reasons that I'm going to talk about, which is, we all know like Portland went through hardship during COVID and we're coming out of it. And people are like, what do we need to know? Well, it's not what it was before, but some of the condos we have a surplus of condos.
Very reasonable price.
And the prices that you can get a condo down here for now is almost like early 2000s because it took such a beating during COVID because nobody wanted to be downtown. Everything was shut down anyway. And then on top of it, we had, all the infamous things that were going on here in Portland. we don't talk so much about it anymore. But now it's kind of coming back. You really don't see a lot of the homeless right now. I expected a lot more when we were driving around this morning, but
Byways Cafe, by the way, I don't know if it's still with us, but it used to be a mainstay. It was an absolutely fantastic break. I think that Portland is great. We have great breakfast restaurants, and that is back in the day when I was doing my triathlons, that was always my treat. Is like you go do a 20-mile run or a big long bike ride, and then you go out and you eat like big greasy breakfast. And Portland was like spot on. They had so many options, and Byways was a fantastic one.
Oh, my favorite restaurant in the Pearl District, actually in all of downtown, you guys, is Andina's.
Yeah,
right there.
It is right
across the street. That has the best food you're going to experience. Yeah. In fact, when people come from out of town and they want like the true Portland experience in downtown, I take them to Andina's. It is like is it Peruvian?
Yes, it is Peruvian food. It
Peruvian
is excellent.
Tapas.
Fantastic margaritas.
Tapas. Yeah, the drinks and the food are like
so good.
Seriously, it's life changing. It's that good. So.
Yeah.
And that's what Portland's known for, right? Is our food scene and like taking people. Oh, look, And as we have a 5 class happening right now, Brick's Tavern, that's excellent. They actually have
this is like a great spot. So you've got Star, you've got a lot of really great restaurants if you look to the sides here. And they close the streets. I mean, this is so that you can have already shops in these restaurants with this outdoor seating.
Local coffee shops and retailers. This is the heart of, this is where you come to right now. Like, you can tell Erica and I's energy like skyrocketed. We're like, oh my God, this is like where all the action
is. I mean, if I'm going to come to Portland, it's going to be to the Pearl because you want to make sure that you're getting, you know, some bang for your buck when you come here. And there's so many, Verde Cochina is a fantastic place. They're gluten-free.
Yeah.
And everything is brought in on the daily. There is nothing that sits around in that restaurant. So if you want fresh, try them out.
Not just fresh, but fresh.
But it's just, you've got a mix of everything here. And I think it's what makes the Pearl and has kept the Pearl. But it's just really kind of this fantastic area of Portland. And we love it.
So so we're driving at Burnside, which is kind of a main road here in the northwest part of Portland.
It will take you to the West Hills. It is an arterial road, and then it goes all the way over onto the east side as well.
Yep.
And it's a mixed foray here.
Yeah. So now we're kind of got the Alphabet District right here in this section as we're kind of heading towards the Northwest 23rd area. Now, the Northwest 23rd, you guys, is known. Like, if you're a tourist to Portland, you hear about it because that's where you go walk up and down Northwest 23rd or even 22nd, where they have tons of retail, restaurants. It's like, you know, the place to kind of visit, so to speak.
This is like the trendy area. You've got all of your boutique shops. You've got great restaurants, good bars. I would say it was the Pearl before the Pearl became so popular and the it spot. Northwest 23rd used to be the it spot. That's where you went for all of your nightlife in terms of like bars and restaurants.
Yeah.
And they've got a great selection of shops as well. You know, and I remember I would bring my sister here who lives from out of country, and we would just hang out on Northwest 23rd and we'd go shopping all day long.
Okay, so we are literally turning on Northwest 23rd right now. So
23rd is named for 23rd because that's the road it's actually on.
Yes. So we're going to kind of drive as slow as we can, and we have to actually because there's so many like pedestrian cars that line the streets.
And there's never parking available on Northwest 23rd. So if you're going to come down and shop, know that you're probably going to be walking to find parking.
Yes. Now, when I was growing up, this is the place that we would go to, you know, walk along the streets with our friends, go grab lunch, to like the Pottery Barn.
Pottery Barn is
still there. It's right there on the corner on Everett.
Right across from Ethan Allen.
Ethan Allen.
This is like very expensive.
Poshly, you know, decorate your living quarters. There is living around here. I want to talk about that for a minute. So a lot of people, when I was growing up, it was, especially early in my career in real estate, which was 24 years ago, it was like people wanted to be down here. They wanted to either rent a place or they wanted to buy. And it's always been kind of expensive.
Very.
We had a client come to town a little over a year ago that we helped buy a place down here. She wanted to be walkable. So when you guys call us and talk to us about, hey, I want to find somewhere walkable, this is it. This is as close to walkable as you can get living in this area.
Especially if you want single family home.
Yes.
But you got to have a budget.
Exactly. So, you know, her budget was healthy. It was 1.5, up to 1.5. And you can get some properties for less than that around here, single family. But one of the things she really wanted was walkable, being able to just walk out her front door and go get coffee, go get dinner, go grab a bite to eat or meet up with friends. But she also wanted to make sure it felt safe to her. So one of the things that we did was we actually approached a lot of people on the road who are walking their dogs or taking a walk. And we asked them, because who's the most unbiased opinion you're going to get?
People living here.
People who live here. And we did. We got some great feedback, and it made her feel very comfortable that if she were to live down here as a single gal, that she would feel like she could walk out her door and not feel like she was unsafe. And she actually, to this day, loves it. She was like, man, I just love going down. Here's my favorite restaurant. She was pointing them out to us. You can see all the restaurants as we're driving down here. Some notorious ones like Salt and Straw Ice Cream. Yeah, she now has, you know, it's kind of started here in Portland, and now it's kind of got spots all over the Portland Metro. All of these restaurants have kind of some significance here, as people really love the Portland scene.
You know, in terms of if you were looking for something that has absolutely everything, and maybe you do want a single family home, you know, this is your neighborhood. There's actually a fantastic breakfast spot over here. It's on a corner, but they're known almost for their bad service, and you just kind of put up with it, but they have the biggest pancakes ever. And like the chocolate milk is like a quarter of a glass of like Hershey syrup, and then your whole milk.
Oh, and their Indian restaurants down here are so
everything
good.
is so good, and you got every type of restaurant here. I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, this eventually drops you down into kind of the.
And there's people out right now, guys, just having lunch, coffees, breakfast. The Matador, one of my favorites. See, they have the doors open, and it's like outdoor, indoor sitting. They've got grasa right here, so good.
I mean, it's almost hard to name all of the fantastic restaurants down here, and you can get everything. You can get Vietnamese kitchen, you can do any sort of food, sushi. There was a great sushi restaurant down here too. You're in that
part of it,
everything.
Let's kind of show them some housing because I think it might be interesting to show you guys. Obviously, we're showing you like the main road here, Northwest 23rd, that goes on and on.
Pine State biscuits,
so good.
Also good breakfast.
But we want to show you some housing too because so many people like to know, oh, that's a gluten-free bakery back there if you're into gluten-free options or alternatives. There's also another bakery across the street here that's so good. We're going kind of fast, so it's kind of hard to like point out every single place.
Because it's
so
the
heart of it,
jam-packed full of spots. I mean, you're gonna find something new every time you come down here, and that's the fun part, is that you could explore this part of Portland for a long time and still continue to find new spots.
Yeah. Now, something to point out is we do have single-family homes, you can see, but there's also some newer infill. Like right across the street here is a modern townhome attached type style property. They do have condos down here. They do have townhomes. It's very much a mix of housing. So if your budget doesn't allow for you to have kind of an older single family dwelling, then don't fear, there is options down here that can maybe fit your budget. But that's where you want to call us and reach out to us, because we help a lot of people relocate and understand what can they get for their budget.
Yeah.
But so many people want to be in this spot of downtown Portland because, as you can see, it is a plethora of options for food and socializing. I mean, when you come to Portland, that's one thing we talk about is a little bit of a challenge, is finding your social, your people.
Your nook of the city.
Oh, I think that's the place.
This is my place.
That's it.
Stepping Stone Cafe. That is the place. It is absolutely fantastic. There's almost always a line on the weekend.
Yes.
And yes, it's on 24th and Quimby. I highly recommend it. Like I said, you're not going to get fantastic friendly service, but the food is amazing.
Now, I'm going to point out there's a property right across the street here that we'll drive by. Erica's drive by a little slowly so I can show it to him. It's on the market. And I'm going to show it to you so you can see kind of what you can get for your money. It's this white house here. A beautiful older home. These are the types of styles of homes and properties.
And that one actually looks like it has off-street parking.
Yep. You're lucky to get a house with a garage. That's a sacred thing around here. Is you have a garage, so you don't have to park in the street. You can see these houses have been redone. And a lot of developers will buy properties and redo them down here. Let's see if I can kind of show you what it's like over here. We're just going to kind of drive around to kind of show you guys a little bit more of the variety of housing styles. In fact, I'm going to put the camera right there to see if we can kind of look at these houses. They're kind of these old 1930s, 40s, classic turn of the century homes, lovingly cared for. They're just beautiful. They're absolutely stunning. It kind of reminds me of the east side of town, right, Erica? Where
very much so.
Have these older homes that were like the bungalows or the, kind of 4-square type properties where they're just got this presence. It's hard to find character homes that Portland's known for. And in the Northwest Portland area, we have a lot of these types of properties that sometimes they even make restaurants out of them. We just passed one that was turned into a law firm. So it's a house, but turned into like a, commercial
And we're just
building.
2 blocks off of 23rd right now.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're still very close. You've, like Ann was saying, you've got professional buildings, but then on the across the street, you're going to have these beautiful homes. Sometimes they get turned into apartments, but just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, here's another beautiful example.
One for sale right there. And the pricing really swings kind of dramatic in this area based on, because some of them are huge houses. I recently was looking at some properties for a client of ours, and it was almost too big in some cases for their desire, because they want to be down near the, get out your door and walk to the restaurants, but they also don't want a big house. They wanted something really, really kind of compact. So
Northwest 23rd area is just really such a gem of an area with what it has to offer. So you've got a lot of options here when it comes to not only being close to amenities, but also travel if you need to. like the Pearl, I think is an excellent option just for being so close to so many awesome things. But in this area, if you wanted single family living, you could definitely get that here. You know, if you're looking to make this move and you need some help making a decision on where to be,
reach out to us.
Reach out. You know, we're always happy to take a call and help you find your nook.